Alright, listen up. Today we're diving into something that doesn't just apply to the business world, but to something far more personal. Your relationships. Yeah, I'm talking about romance. You want to keep that flame burning? You want to keep the passion alive? Then you've got to treat your relationship like an investment, like an asset. Because that's exactly what it is, an asset. And just like any asset, if you want it to grow, if you want it to deliver a return, you've got to put in the work. You've got to feed it, nurture it, and most importantly, protect it. Think of your romantic relationship like a stock portfolio. In the beginning, you've got that initial excitement, the thrill of seeing your investment rise. But here's the thing. If you want sustained growth, you've got to be consistent. You can't just pour in all your energy at the start and expect it to take care of itself. No, that's not how this works. Relationships, like the market, need constant attention. You've got to monitor the trends, understand the signals, and adapt when necessary. Now let's talk about diversification. In finance, you don't put all your money in one stock, do you? Of course not, because that's reckless. Same thing in a relationship. You can't just rely on one thing, whether it's physical attraction or just the honeymoon phase. No, you need to diversify. You need emotional connection, intellectual stimulation, shared goals, and yes, physical chemistry. Balance is the key. Each of those areas needs investment, and each needs its own form of attention. You've heard the phrase, you've got to spend money to make money, right? Well, in romance, you've got to spend time to keep that flame alive. And I'm not talking about just sitting on the couch watching Netflix. I'm talking about quality time. Time where you're truly present. When you're not thinking about your job, your next big deal, or even your phone. I mean, focused time, where the only thing that matters is you and your partner. Time is the most valuable asset you can give in any relationship, and if you invest it wisely, it'll pay off in ways you can't even imagine. Think of passion like compounding interest. The more you invest, the more it grows. But let me be clear, passion doesn't sustain itself. It's not a set it and forget it type of deal. If you stop feeding the fire, it dies out. So how do you keep that spark alive? You surprise each other, you challenge each other, you step outside the routine. And just like in business, you take calculated risks. Those risks might mean being vulnerable, trying new things, or even opening up about stuff that's uncomfortable. But every time you do, that flame burns a little brighter. And let's not forget about communication. You think you can close deals without talking? Of course not. Same thing goes in a relationship. Clear, honest communication is the foundation of keeping that romance alive. When something's bothering you, you don't let it simmer until it boils over. You address it head on. You open the books, so to speak, and you show your partner where you stand. And in return, you expect the same level of transparency from them. Now, here's the thing. Romantic effort is a currency. You don't build wealth by being lazy, and you certainly don't build a strong relationship that way either. You've got to show up, day in and day out. Compliments, surprises, thoughtful gestures, they're like small deposits in the bank of your relationship. And guess what? Those little investments build up over time. They create a reservoir of goodwill, trust, and affection that you can draw from when times get tough. Let's talk about maintenance. In business, you know you don't just set up a system and never check in on it, right? You maintain it, you upgrade it, you keep it in top shape. The same goes for your relationship. Regular check-ins are crucial. Ask your partner how they're feeling, where they're at emotionally. It's like running diagnostics on an engine. If something's off, you catch it early and fix it before it turns to a bigger issue. That's how you avoid disaster, through proactive management. And just like in business, you've got to be prepared to pivot. Things change. Life throws curveballs. Maybe it's work stress, family issues, or health challenges. Whatever it is, the relationship you have today might need different things than it did a year ago. You've got to be adaptable. You've got to be willing to evolve with your partner. If you stay rigid, you're setting yourself up for failure. Flexibility is key to survival, not just in the market, but in love. Respect is non-negotiable. In the business world, if you disrespect a client, you lose them. If you disrespect your partner, you risk losing them too. Every interaction should be grounded in respect. And that doesn't just mean avoiding fights. It means valuing your partner's thoughts, opinions, and feelings. It means treating them like the valuable asset they are. Because let me tell you, once respect is lost, it's incredibly difficult to regain. Now let's talk about growth. Any good investment grows over time, right? Well, your relationship should too. And for growth to happen, both partners need to be on the same page. You need shared goals, shared dreams. You need to push each other to be better, to evolve. Complacency is the enemy of growth. If you're just coasting along, you're not moving forward. And if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. Growth is essential, and it requires both of you to be committed to constant improvement. And here's something you probably don't think about often: gratitude. Gratitude is like reinvesting your dividends. The more you show appreciation for your partner, the more valuable the relationship becomes. It doesn't have to be grand gestures either. Small, genuine moments of appreciation go a long way. Don't wait for anniversaries or special occasions to express your gratitude. Make it a habit, because when you feel valued, you're more likely to give even more of yourself to the relationship. Speaking of giving, let's talk about generosity. I'm not talking about money, though that doesn't hurt. I'm talking about being generous with your love, your attention, and your patience. Generosity in a relationship is like making a big, bold investment. The more you put in, the more you get out. And here's the kicker. It's not about keeping score. If you're constantly tallying who did what, you're already on the wrong path. True generosity is giving without expecting anything in return. And that kind of mindset, it's a game changer. Now let's get real for a second. Every relationship has ups and downs. Every investment has periods of growth and periods of loss. The key is to weather the storms. When things get tough, that's when your real character shows. Do you abandon ship at the first sign of trouble? Or do you double down and fight for what's important? Relationships are no different from business in that regard. Resilience is everything. You've got to be able to take the hits and keep moving forward. Let's talk about trust. Trust is the foundation of any relationship, and it's built over time. It's earned. You can't rush it, and once it's broken, it's almost impossible to fully rebuild. In business, if you lose the trust of your partners, you lose everything. In romance, it's the same. You've got to protect trust like your most valuable asset. Be reliable, be honest, and most importantly, be consistent. Consistency breeds trust. And while we're on the subject, let's talk about security. In business, if your foundation is shaky, the whole enterprise collapses. In romance, if your partner doesn't feel secure, emotionally, physically, financially, the relationship is on thin ice. Make your partner feel secure. Give them stability. Provide the reassurance that no matter what happens, you've got their back. Because that security, that's what allows them to be vulnerable, to open up, and to let the relationship grow deeper. Now here's something most people overlook. Fun. Yeah, fun. You can't grind all day, every day in business or in love. You've got to enjoy the ride. Relationships need laughter, spontaneity, and joy. It's not all about solving problems and setting goals. You've got to create memories that make both of you smile. That's what keeps things fresh. That's what makes the hard times bearable. Fun is the fuel that keeps the engine running smoothly. Remember, romance isn't just about maintaining, it's about building. Every day, you're either building something stronger or you're letting it fall apart. There's no in between. Just like in business, you're either growing or you're dying. So, take action. Don't wait for things to go wrong before you start paying attention. Keep building, keep investing, keep showing up day after day. In closing, remember this. Romance is an asset, and like any asset, it requires constant management, constant care, and constant attention. If you invest wisely, if you put in the time, the effort, and the love, the returns will be incredible. But if you neglect it, if you take it for granted, it'll collapse faster than a bad stock in a market crash. The power is in your hands. You control the destiny of your relationship. So what are you going to do? Are you going to sit back and hope it works out? Or are you going to take action, invest in it, and watch it grow into something truly unstoppable? The choice is yours.